Sitting now at a game number 5, tied 2-2, Miraculous Gaming versus Overdose Gaming. It's been a good series so far. Lots of Zerg, lots of Terran, lots of Protoss. Fairly even distribution of races this evening, which is neat to see. But we do want to take a second to thank our sponsors for this evening and for sponsoring the league as a whole.
Absolutely, and that would be MythLogic. You can see their logo there. You can find them at mythlogic.com. You can find them on Twitter. It's at MythLogic, I believe, right?
At MythLogic on Twitter, yes, and / MythLogic on Facebook.
Yep. So you can check them out in those locations, and they produce some really great gaming rigs. Go ahead and check them out, and if you like what you see, definitely put a purchase in there. Supporters of esports, they've got a great product, and yeah, just give them a look-see. I think you'll be impressed.
The best thing you can do to help us out and help them out and let them know that their sponsorship and dollars and overall support is worthwhile is to go out to Twitter, tweet them at MythLogic, and say a big thanks from yourself for supporting esports and supporting grassroots esports especially. This is not some big MLG or ESL, something like that. So it is a big leap of faith for a company to support a grassroots organization like SC2CTL. We appreciate it very much. Tag SC2CTL in that tweet, and if you would like, also at WingNetSC and at Gallegation, we are your commentators. We appreciate you joining us this evening as we go into game number 5 of Miraculous Gaming versus Overdose Gaming, Cube Phase versus Mercy.
That's right. So Cube Phase from Overdose Gaming is a High Master Zerg, and apparently has improved quite a bit in recent months. He's a good all-around player with macro and aggressive builds. And from Miraculous Gaming, we have Mercy. He's a Korean Grandmaster Toss player, and he's been a past top Grandmaster player generally. Currently designer for Kespa and other pro teams. He's got a macro-oriented... He is a macro-oriented toss with unique builds mixed into his style.
Thank you for that. We do appreciate the teams responding to our emails, sending us the bios. Actually, I think we've gotten almost as many bios on stream as we have from the emails, but nonetheless, we appreciate we appreciate no matter how we get them. So we definitely want to do our part to introduce these players and these teams to the community. They are pretty cool, pretty awesome. So let's jump on into game number 5. As we have down here in the lower right-hand corner, wearing the green carapace representing Overdose Gaming, it is Cube Phase.
And in the top left-hand corner, representing Miraculous Gaming, it is Mercy.
Mercy. So, interesting tidbit, Mercy, along with Frisia, used to be one of the members of Overdose Gaming. So, again, in the first week of SC2CTL, playing his former team. Must be interesting.
Can't ask for thicker drama than that.
You could cut it with a knife, Gallegation.
That's absolutely right. Looks like there's a little bit of racism in the chat there. Mercy taking it in stride, sending his probe across to kill things.
GG, I quit. Well, not going to touch that with a stick.
Nope.
But another ZVP, we saw the pretty apparently the drama is that he's ugly, not Korean.
I gotcha. Okay.
But never you mind. These players have all the APM, able to carry on very deep conversations while creating their workers and doing all kinds of things. Another large map, Way Station is the name of this one. A cool map, pretty far distances here. Looks like Mercy going to be doing a bit of a expansionary type build here with his first pylon sitting out at the natural expansion. Probe, yeah, go for it. No, you had it. Go for it. Probe doing his dance around the natural expansion, as we talked about earlier, really causing some headache for this drone.
Absolutely. Finally does decide to move away after the shield is gone and allowing that hatchery to complete, but he's not done just yet. Wants to make sure it's there.
Current score, as you can see in the lower left-hand portion of your screen, is 2-2, so we are tied, responding to chat. Score down there, and we're in game number 5. Score 2-2 in this best-of-7 series. A little bit about the format while we're opening here. Pool going down, Forge going down for Protoss. This is a Pro League format, so before the matches, each team submits their secret roster, and then once both rosters are submitted, it does show the matches. Then the teams can then organize the times that each of them plays. So these teams are not able to prepare exactly who they'll be going up against. They can only select players based on map or what they think races may play in the other teams. A lot of mind games there, but different from last season where it was an all-kill format. Definitely interesting and liking it so far.
Absolutely. You know, the one thing that I did like about last season's format is that there was strategy in who you sent out at what time, and there was kind of a lot of thought that had to go into that. Not nearly as much in this format, but at the same time, there's some really great other, you know, mechanics that are in play. A little bit more fair system in terms of what team actually has the more well-rounded players as opposed to just one obscenely good player.
Absolutely, and also from what we've seen, it helps in the scheduling of matches a little bit, as they don't, all the players don't have to be available at the time the match is played. They can kind of schedule them at their leisure. A couple Lings chasing around as Scout Probe in the middle of the map. Looks like Mercy's wall is almost complete here, but not quite. Cannon is there, so that will prevent these Lings from getting too deep into the base, as he does turn them on around. Second probe, though, headed out on the map to either scout or put down a pylon. Not sure exactly which yet. Cybernetics core half done. Queen about to pop out in the main base. Those injects will get started, and we'll see what path both these players end up going down.
Looks like that queen is... Two queens are down at the natural. One's going to be putting down a creep tumor here in a moment, and then heading back up, or maybe just staying there as the creep queen, perhaps. But oh yeah, there's another one in the main base. I missed that.
Warp Gate coming out as well as a Stalker, and +1 attack for those ground units for Mercy. So it looks like we are going to be seeing a bit more gateway heavy play, at least here early in this game, where we saw our first PvZ was a pretty insane, awesome air versus air toss versus a Zerg everything, honestly. But now Stalker going to be moving out on the map to, it's going to catch these couple Lings here, be able to at least do some damage to them depending on micro, may be able to kill one of them. Does not quite get that done. Speed is about half done for Cube Phase, our Zerg player. 12 Zerglings in production now.
That's right, getting that third base as well, so he's ramping up his economy a bit, getting those creep tumors spread out as well. He really wants to get that extra mobility on a map this large.
So far this looks like more of a sort of a classic Protoss build here as the Robo is coming down, so if we end up seeing some a little bit more Colossus heavy play, that would be kind of interesting. We haven't seen that in a little while. Stalker getting poked at here by these Lings, trying to micro his darndest back. Does kill one of them. It's going to be a long fight for him.
And that speed does finish now, so he's going to be able to micro it a little bit more. The Stalker decides to stand and finish, but ends up getting killed.
Not so long of a fight after all.
Not so much.
+1 attack is getting close to finishing up for Mercy. Chrono boosting out Warp Gate. Looks like he's going to maybe want to at least make some kind of attempt at a push once Warp Gate does finish. The Overlord flying in range of that cannon very briefly, as there is a probe. Maybe one thing is Mercy definitely can't get on the map to put down a warp in pylon anywhere. No. Those Lings definitely locking down any of the probes.
And it looks like Cube Phase now putting down a Roach Warren as well, getting double Evolution Chamber, going to be stacking up those upgrades here momentarily. The creep spread continues to push, linking these bases together, slowly but surely.
Lings continuing to scout around, looking for pylons around the map. Mothership core there. A couple sentries to block off that opening. Cannons continuing to come in. Observer as well to keep an eye on things. 3 bases so far for Cube Phase, and Mercy just kind of turtling himself up on his 2 bases. Does have a Warp Prism on the field as well.
And that Warp Prism did briefly fly within the range of that Overlord that was over there, so I don't know if he was actually spotted, but it was possible to spot. And it doesn't look like that is the case, as nothing's really kind of gathering in position as this Warp Prism is entering into the third base.
Yeah, no notable reaction out of Cube Phase, but some Lings do get pulled back now. Those 4 Zealots dropped and 4 more warped in, so this is a pretty decent push here for Mercy.
Absolutely, that's great aggression, especially against only Zerglings that we have at the moment. Roaches are in production, but they are not quite out yet, so he's going to have to continue to mount this defense with only Zerglings. And Queens, good transfuse there, keeping 1 Queen alive. All the Queens are coming down. 1 does fall. Mothership core is moving into the mix as well, going to kind of dance around a little bit, puts down a Time Warp mostly on his own units there.
I thought maybe that Mothership Core was trying to edge its way in there to try and eventually recall those Zealots, but it looks like he was able to push those Queens back. Roach is out there. He wants to kill this base down and then get on out of there. Probably Queen does spawn. Lings surrounding the Zealots. He's really trying to get that base down. Is he going to be able to get it before the damage does? He is able to. Does pick up 4 of those Zealots into the War Prism and gets on out of dodge.
Just barely, too. That War Prism only has 1 health remaining.
So far, this reminds me very much of a Wings of Liberty game, to be quite honest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This is definitely a lot of very play that was pretty common in Wings of Liberty with those big Zealot warp-in pushes in the beginning and trying to kill that third base. Now the Lings trying to get in, but Sentry's doing a good job of using their actual meat to block that hole off, not having to expend any force field energy.
That's the most economic way to do that.
Yes, it is. Even though energy is free, but yes.
I suppose.
Energy is, that's a debate we can have. Energy is free, but not free because it takes time. I don't know.
Right.
Ling does...
Time is a resource. Time is absolutely a resource.
Absolutely. Ling does attempt to scout out a third base, sees nothing there. A couple of mortals on the field, Stalkers being warped in. Dark Shrine now headed down for Mercy as well. Oh, it looks like that hole not quite large enough for the giant lumbering immortals to get themselves out of. So it does end up taking out one of those gateways.
You do what you gotta.
Pathogen glands coming down for Cube Phase. Wow, this game could not get any more Wings of Liberty-esque. Since when have we seen pathogen glands researched?
Not often, anyway. Not anymore. But it looks like Mercy is moving across the map with this army. He will be meeting Cube. Well, he's going to be walking right by Cube Phases. And Cube Phase looks to try and catch him off guard. Does get into those sentries with the Zerglings, but not able to quite do enough damage. The Roaches are getting force fielded off, and this is going heavily in Mercy's favor.
Yeah, and we do have to note also that Ventral Sax and Overlord Speed are about to finish up as well. Also something we haven't seen in a while. Could be a something that Mercy maybe doesn't expect. He does have an Observer here, so he's able to see those Creep Tumors, taking them out. Force fields his units back a little bit, warping in more... oh, Dark Templar. I thought those were Zealots at first with that Warp Prism.
A little bit more dangerous than that.
Yeah, sending them around nice and evenly to all the bases. No drones mining at that third base still. This is looking pretty scary for Cube Phase. Does not have any detection around at the moment.
No, his only observers on the other side of the map. So he's going to be losing this third base. He's going to be hurting quite a bit. And these DTs are certainly doing a lot of damage.
Time Warp down on top of half of the Zerg army there as Mercy is doing massive damage to these Roaches with these Immortals hanging out in the back of the army. Infestor does come up, get a Fungal down, but that is just not enough as he keeps on pushing back. Left mostly is just the Infestors and the Overseer. Blink in and GG from Cube Phase.
GG.
That was a pretty neat game to see. I cannot tell you the last time that we saw a game like that. It seriously brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a couple of ancient fossils like us, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Back to the glory days.
So what is that upgrade anyway? I had to hover my mouse over it. I'm like, pathogen glands? What is that? Oh.
Absolutely.
So, given what we saw, I mean, would you tend to agree with me that losing that third base there was sort of the turning point for Cube Phase?
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime that you lose a base, it really pushes you back. And Cube Phase was really trying to get into a transition at that point where he was really trying to move into not just Lings but into Roaches as well, and kind of transition more into that mid-game style of play. But losing that third base really crippled that ability, pushed him back quite a bit. And he had to kind of stick with what the tech that he had, which allowed Mercy to kind of play accordingly. You know, get the Immortals out, get the units that he wanted that was good against that army, and was able to push out and do a lot more damage.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to be sitting at 2-3 in favor of Miraculous Gaming. So it's definitely been a back and forth this evening we have had. But before we move on into game number 6, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. So do stick with us real briefly as we do that, and we will be right back.